how's it going? How's it going? How's it going? I wanted to share with you 5 secret ways to live in more Zen flow mode during the holiday season. And if you're like me, you can hardly believe that the December holiday month is already here. And for me, for many years as a young entrepreneur and mother of 3 and wife and daughter and sister and all of the many roles that I play, the month of December when it would arrive, number one, it would always feel like it came sooner than I was ready. And number 2, it often accompanied just this wave of additional overwhelm. I felt stressed already. Oftentimes I felt overwhelmed and burned out and overworked and underrested. So just the idea of all of the added Christmas responsibilities would often just, at the beginning of the month, just make me feel even worse, even more stressed about it. And the good news is, cut to, I guess 15 years later, I am older and wiser, and age doesn't necessarily mean that we learn the skills and the tools, but I'm very grateful to have invested well over a decade in myself and in these principles and learning some ways to live less stressed and more in flow. I call it the holiday Zen flow mode. If you're watching this and you feel at all stressed around the holidays, I'd love to know what may cause the stress. And certainly now when I am living, whether it be my birthday month or one of our launch months or big events that we have that we're hosting or the holidays, I feel equipped. I have tools. It isn't that I never get stressed anymore, but I just don't live feeling like the waves are crashing in and I don't have a way to ride the waves of life in success. And so let me share with you these 5 secrets to live in more Zen flow mode during the holidays. So the first secret to living in more Zen flow mode is having a mind, body, spirit conscious dance practice in my life. And if there's one thing that has probably changed my life and helped me connect to peace of mind, clarity of my mental clarity in terms of decision, calmness, and happiness and joy in my heart and confidence in who I am and what my purpose is having this conscious dance practice. Not only that, but I've taken what I've learned over many, many years of practicing conscious dance, and over 20 years ago, I put it into a modality where I've combined health and well-being sciences, transformational spiritual principles, and my favorite aspects of conscious dance into a 60-minute practice called Transcendence. The second secret is to really, what I find as a transformational spiritual life coach and health and well-being expert, I often have clients come to me in this state of overwhelm, especially around the holidays. There's just too much to do and way too little time in their perception of what the month looks like. And so oftentimes we will unpack what's going on. And what I often find is that they feel like there's all these expectations of them, that they've got to help maybe their elderly parents around this or their kids around that, and they've just got too much on their plate. And oftentimes what gets pushed back, especially for the women that I coach on the back burner, are her needs, your needs. So the question I would ask you is ask yourself, what would I love versus how can I make what everybody else would love happen? And then have what I would love not actually happen. And so your second secret is to really ask yourself, what would I love? And then as you look over this next month, we've still got quite a few days left of the month, rather than just letting the month happen to you, be really proactive and selective about what you schedule and make sure that what you would love is also installed and calendarized on this beautiful month, that you can create whatever it is that you would love this month. Just because somebody else wants you to go somewhere or somebody else wants you to do something does not mean that you are obligated to do so. Your secret number 3 is to seek less stuff and fluff and more quality fun time together with your family. I really actually learned this more from my husband's side of the family. They're not as into all of the just the commercialism of Christmas and the holidays in their family. They all select numbers. There's 25 or 30 different family members, and everyone buys a gift and gives a gift, and everyone receives a gift. So when we go to those holidays, you give one gift and you receive one gift. And so there's just less stuff in general, which then leaves so much more time for connection. And so I have sought a healthy balance. I do love to give gifts, but I also love to have some really quality time. So whether it just be making cocoa at home with my kids, or taking them ice skating, or we just sit down and play a game of cards or Uno. I let them know in advance, I would really love some quality time with you. And then when they were little, even now when they're older, we'll sometimes make cookies, but just, together time. What would that look like versus, feeling obligated to do all of the stuff and the commercialism of the holidays. Your tip number 4 really goes back to asking yourself, what would I love? But it's to prioritize self-care, rest, and rejuvenation. The last thing we need is to get to the end of this month feeling even more fried, even more burned out and exhausted. And that can easily happen, especially with the extra goodies and the alcohol and the sugar that is accompanied with a lot of these holiday parties and things, that we can get to the end of the month and just feel heavy and unrested and just not all that good in our skin. So I'm not saying don't enjoy a holiday cookie or two and have some fun, but you certainly can have some fun and also take care of your body temple in the process. So whether it's a long, luxurious bath with some, Epsom salts and some essential oils, or go and get a massage, or, do an extra, yoga class or whatever, but just really including rest and rejuvenation and self-care in your holiday plans, and marking that out as a non-negotiable. You will feel so much better as you head into the new year. And then your secret number 5 is to carve out. Now, many of the friends and family members that would potentially be watching this may already have plans to do this, but not everybody does this. And so one of my favorite things is to carve out some time for visioning and reflection and gratitude for the year that has passed, including the challenges. Oftentimes the challenges are our greatest opportunities for learning. So my husband and the Mexican culture around the New Year's, they have this grape ceremony, which sounds kind of fun. Yes, literally grapes. We usually get green, sometimes there's red, but you get 12 grapes. And I remember the first time I watched my husband do this at the New Year, they get 12 grapes, and at least in my husband's tradition and his family, they take a grape, and I think he has his own little mini personal tradition that isn't explainable by the Mexican culture. That's the Jorge tradition, but I love it and I've adopted it, where he takes each grape and he reflects on the month. So January, and then he eats the grape, and then February and what happened in February. And he goes through the whole year in gratitude. And then we do visioning as a couple as well as a family as to, not only what would we love to create, what are the success and results that we'd love to see happen, but what do we want to feel, and who are we willing to be to create the results that we would love. And I go through, all of my areas of life. I go through what do I want my marriage to feel like at the end of this year, and what are the important big rocks that I know are going to make a big difference at the end of this year if I carve those out, like date nights and, special moments that we're going to be spending together. And I think about my kids and those special moments with them, and my own health and well-being and self-care and what's required there. Of course, business, love and relationships, time and money freedom, time off, all of those kinds of things. So I encourage you to also take some time, and maybe I know I have a lot of friends and colleagues who create a theme for the year, that really drives home what it is that they would love to create this year as well. What are some of your secrets? What are some of the ways that I would love for you to type in a secret or two about, what are the ways that you live? The theme is ways to live in Zen flow mode during the holidays.